Hello, people. Hello, hello, hello. What's good in the hood? What's happening? Happy Tuesday, folks. How's everybody doing? There I am. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Let me find myself here. Da, 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 da. Kelly Jackson. What's up, y'all? What's good in the hood? Let me turn myself on. There I am. Who is that? Jacqueline, Robin, Linda, Teresa's in the building. I forgot my water. In the building. What's happening, everybody? How we feel today? Georgia decided to turn up on me. And all heck has broken loose. It is raining. There is flooding. There is thunder. There is lightning. There's messages. You know how you get the messages on your phone? It's a lot happening. It's a lot happening. It's a lot going on. How's everybody feeling? Fab! Hello, Linda. Hello, hello. You guys doing okay? Can we get our one word? We haven't done that in a minute. How are we feeling? One word to describe how you're feeling. If you're new to me, I see a bunch of you watching. If you're new to me, we do one word to describe how we're feeling. If you were to describe, y'all, you get us one word now. You just get one word to describe how you're feeling in this moment. Doesn't have to be work related. It could just be, this is how I'm feeling, Kelly. This is how I'm feeling. Talk to me, y'all. How are we feeling? It's a lot happening, right? It's a lot going on. How are we feeling? What's one word to describe how we are feeling? How you are feeling right now? All right, here we go. Derek says, productive. I feel productive. Okay, I can get with that. Fab Viola says, relieved. Okay, hopefully good news, maybe. Good news, maybe. Fatigued. Robin's tired. I'm fatigued, y'all. I'm fatigued. Linda said, I'm okay. I'm okay. I think I'm with Linda. I think I'm with this. Melancholy. Okay, Jacqueline. Teresa, no. No. T. Frustrated. Frustrated. No. Y'all, we got to give less love on T. We got to love on T now. We got to love on her, y'all. We don't want you to be frustrated. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Is there an emoji for hugs, y'all? Hugs, hugs, hugs. No, 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 no. There's a lot going. There's a lot going on. We know that. We know that, right? Clifford, what's happening? Digesting. Gotcha. Gotcha. Lots to digest. Lots to digest. We got to check in, right? We got to check in with one another. Most importantly, we have to check in with ourselves. You know, it's okay to ask yourself how you're doing. Kelly, how are you doing? Take a minute, right? How are you doing? How are you doing? Check in with yourself. Y'all know this is what therapists say to do. Check in with yourself. Kelly, you're done. Congratulations. Fab finished school, y'all. She finished. Congrats, congrats. All right, we're gonna love on you, T. Y'all send T Teresa some love, y'all. Linson's in the building. Hello, hello, hello. You got to check in with yourself. Check in with yourself. It's okay to pause for a second, even if it's just 5 minutes. Say, wait a minute. How are you doing, Kelly? How are you doing right now? Why are you upset? Why are you sad? Why are you mad? Why are you frustrated? Why are you anxious? You can check in with yourself. It's okay. Y'all know we can do that. It's okay. We can do that. We can do that. I want y'all to try that too. Every day. Okay, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Can this be the emoji for the? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. It can be the emoji for the hug. Congratulations, Fab. Super proud of you. I know you've been in it. You've been in it for a minute, but I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Lots of love to TT. Lots of love. Listen, I know there's a lot going on. I mean, that's an understatement, right? I get it. I get it. I get it. Tonight, though, and we'll wrap up at the end on some things. But tonight, I wanted to talk about and make you aware of in case you don't know. And if you do know, you all, like you always do, contribute to the conversation and help some of us out. Inside of our private community that we have, there are maybe 20, 23 people that are currently either facing a layoff, have rumblings of a layoff inside of the organization that they're in, or have been laid off. And I, doing this talent acquisition, recruiter, staffing agency, long time, I haven't never seen it like this before. Second half of the year, we're in for 2024. And for those that are new to me, welcome. If you're watching the replay, welcome. Inside of the community, we have topic-based training. We talk about a particular topic every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everyone contributes, and we have dialogue here. So if you're new to us, the goal for this community is to expose ourselves to information so that we are equipped to be empowered. The 4 E's: exposure, education, equip, and empowerment. So the more you expose yourself to education and information, the more equipped you are to be empowered to handle things, right? Doesn't mean that it doesn't make you feel a way emotionally or that you're not fully prepared, but the more exposure you get, because there's a ton of information out there, right? The more you learn, the more you earn, and the more exposed you are, the more equipped you can be. So that's the goal of this community. I wanted to say that real quick because I know we have a lot of new people. But I was saying that in terms of layoffs, I haven't seen it like this. One of the reasons why I believe, I don't have any data or anything back it up, but just in my experience, second half of the year, it tends to be the time when organizations are thinking about cuts and revenue and budget and things like that. So that's pretty normal. But this year in particular, is also an election year, right? So if we start at the top, and we had a conversation about this maybe a month ago when we talked about how the economy affects businesses, which in turn affects employees. I don't want you to forget that. I want you to remember that and be cognizant of that and consider that in all things that you do. If you're hearing things about the economy, you're hearing things on the political front, think about how it affects businesses inside of our private community. I'm thinking this Thursday, do not hold me on it, but I really want to get to this topic. I may do a workshop for this. It'll be free because I want you to have the information. I want you to write this down though, in case I don't get to it. I know somebody will remind me. I want y'all to start Googling. I want y'all to start looking up. It's called the zombie economy. Just do your research, go to YouTube, whatever. Zombie economy, because I don't know if I'll get to it, but I don't want to forget. Anytime that there is an election year and we're on the second half of the year, businesses look at the political climate to say, okay, what do we need to do? What policies are currently in place and laws and acts and things like that. So the economically dictates how businesses move. So you can pretty much predict, okay, this is popping off right now. I know my company is part of the DOD and I know this is happening. You could pretty much assess kind of how things are moving, right? We don't know fully. We're not clairvoyant. We don't have a crystal ball. But I want you to keep in mind, when you see things happening economically, specifically in an election year, businesses are watching that as well. And this is how a lot of businesses determine how they're going to move, what their next moves are going to be. So tonight, I wanted to talk about the severance agreement. I want to share some websites with you. We're equipping ourselves so that we're informed. Okay. I got a brief presentation. I didn't do a lot to this one. I just wanted to have it organized so that I wasn't all over the place because I have a lot of notes and things. So I just put it on here just to keep us organized. And then I want to share some other things with you and then we'll wrap up. Okay. We good? All right, y'all, let's hop into it. We're talking about severance agreements. Okay. We had another conversation about this. Maybe I'll put it in a a playlist for those that are on YouTube so that you can see all of it. All right, let's go into this real quick. Severance secrets. Mandatory or myth is what we're talking about. Now, when you think about severance, we think about layoffs or cuts or rifts or reduction in force. That's what rifts are. But here's some secrets I want you to know about. Severance agreements are not generally mandatory or required for companies to provide. Whether a severance agreement is offered depends on the company's policies, the terms of an employment contract, collective bargaining agreements, or specific circumstances of the employee's departure. I don't want you thinking that a company has to give you a severance agreement, because it is not. There's no law. It's not mandatory. It is not required. And we're going to talk about why they do provide severance agreements. So, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, a company is supposed to notify your state when they are considering or thinking about or will have a layoff. This is called the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, WARN. This is what WARN stands for. This is the U.S. Department of Labor. You can Google this. They are supposed to, this is an act in place that holds companies accountable for sharing that they are about to lay off. Right? Now let's read it real quick. The WARN Act protects workers, their families, and communities by requiring employers with 100 or more employees, generally not counting those who have worked less than 6 months in the last 12 months, and those who work an average of less than 20 hours a week. And I'll break this down for you a little later. To provide at least 60 calendar days advance written notice of a plant closing and mass layoff affecting 50 or more employees at a single site of employment. Now, how many of you know, type in the chat, people that got laid off same day? They weren't given a notice. They weren't given 60 days. Now, this says plant, but this applies to all companies and organizations. I want you to do your own research and Google it for yourself. How many of you know people that just showed up to work and received a pink slip or a call in the office or a 15-minute remote Zoom call, Teams call? They didn't abide by an act where they're supposed to let the state know. You see it. That's why I'm putting it in front of you. It's an act that was created to protect the workers, protect their families and communities. It says right here, you see it, requiring employers. Does your company have 100 or more people? They're required. How many of you know they don't do it? I'm going to tell you why. This is the secret. Loopholes, y'all. Loopholes. Y'all seen it all over TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, people showing up to work, getting let go. You read it on LinkedIn, you read it on Facebook, you read it on the news, you hear about it. We showed up to work today and they called us in the office and that was it. Now, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, companies are supposed to notify the state. Hey, we're getting ready to have a layoff in 60 days. And we're making it known. We want it to be public. Here's the loopholes. If they have 500 or more people in a single location, I know the last one because that one said plant, but a company, if they have 500 or more people in a single location, 50 or more people make up 33% of the total workforce, they're supposed to notify the state. Here's the loophole. Listen, we're going to be having a layoff, but what we're going to do is we're going to keep you on payroll for 60 days. How many of you have heard of people getting locked out of their computers? Their badge no longer works, but they're keeping you on payroll for 60 days. You know why? Because then they don't have to report it, because guess what? You're officially still an employee because we're paying you. So they don't want the public scrutiny of laying off so many people until they're ready to do it. So this is a loophole on how they can bypass this WARN Act and not have to share and not have to tell the public that we are preparing for a layoff. You can show up to work and that same day they can let you go with no notice, although there is an act in place. This is how they get around it. Listen, we are having a layoff. Y'all remember last week or 2 weeks ago, I showed you the lady. She showed up and HR was on the phone and somebody else was on the phone and she went off. Oh, we just need 15 minutes with you. And they took 15 minutes with everybody. Hey, we apologize. We appreciate all your work, everything that you've done for us. But unfortunately, due to budget constraints or just some restructuring that we're doing throughout the organization, unfortunately, your position has been eliminated. We want to thank you for everything you've done. We will provide you with 60 days. You will stay on the payroll. Thank you. Here's a severance agreement. Go ahead and sign. What do most people do, y'all? They sign. Do you read it? Do you know why a severance agreement is in place? Let's talk about it. There is no government agency that has the authority to prosecute WARN Act violations. And guess what the penalty is if they did prosecute companies for not sharing with their state that they were about to lay off? 60 days back pay. What is that to $1 billion company or $1 million company? 60 days back pay. So what's the point of the whole darn act? If you ask me, that's just me. No government agency has the authority. So who has the authority to penalize these companies for not sharing with people that we're about to lay off 150,000 people? And then when they get penalized, guess what they got to pay? Just 60 days pay. Man, fine these people $5 million so they won't do that again. So listen, I want you to know your rights, right? Companies are supposed to notify your state that they are preparing for a layoff. Everybody pull out your computer, pull out your phones real quick. I want you to look this up and I want you to tell me if you found this. I want everybody to have access to this. I want you to put your state first. So for me, it'll be Georgia. And I'm going to do this with you. You're going to put your state, Georgia WARN list, North Carolina WARN list, Texas WARN list, California WARN list. Let's Google it together. Let's Google it together. I'm going to put Georgia in. Y'all do y'all's. Georgia WARN list. Everybody do theirs. Get your phone. Now, I like to use the government site. Typically, there's a black logo here. I think we've done this before, right, y'all? People use this one, but I know these are actual people. But I like to go to the government site. So when you Google, put your state name first, put WARN list second, and they should have reports of what's happening. Right? So I just did Georgia. Let's do another one. Let's do North Carolina. North Carolina WARN list. Let's see. I like to go to the government site. You're going to always see this one right here, okay? And you'll see this all over TikTok that people go here. I like to go to the government site. So I'm going to go right here where it has .gov, okay? And they will have reports there. Now, these are companies that are complicit. They comply with it. So I'm not mad at them because they're doing the right thing. So when you click on, this is, who did I say this was, y'all? North Carolina? Did I say North Carolina? Let's click on this one. Let's just see what it looks like so you all have an idea. So you see there's a list here. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Can I make this bigger? So you can see there's a list here. And it'll tell you what county. This is North Carolina that we're looking at right now. North Carolina, and you can see it's updated 7/19/2024. Y'all see that right here? Every state has this. You can look at this, okay? You can look at this. Here's the company. They're saying, okay, we're going to, closure. It's going to be permanent. It's going to be 107 affected at this location. This is what's supposed to happen. So I want y'all to have this available. You can look at this, right? This is what's supposed to happen. But we talked about the loopholes for those little sneaky little companies. Because they say, you know what? Listen, Janelle, we gonna pay you, 60 days. But Janelle can't even log into her computer. She can't even use her badge to get in anymore. But yet, I'm on payroll. And I've heard people say, I'm cool with that. And maybe it's okay. It's okay. It's a personal preference. It's personal preference. So this is the WARN list. This is for you to take a look. You can Google by your state. It's called the WARN list. And we know what WARN stands for, right? We did that. Here's the fact. I'm getting ready to share this with you. Employers can no longer silence employees in exchange for a severance. Now we're getting into why do they provide severance agreements in the first place? Besides the fact that they want to have something in writing, I'm going to take you to this attorney site. So this is attorney Cunningham and Dahlman, PC. These are employment law attorneys. Here's what happened in March of 2023. If you were not aware, the National Labor Relations Board put employers on notice. They said, listen, all right, if you're going to not even report, you're going to tell people we're going to give you 60 days of pay, you can't make them sign an agreement that has on the inside of it that you can't talk about this. Two specific terms. So if you get a severance agreement, I want you to know this. I want you to go there and I want you to read that document before signing it, because there's two things employers put on there. One is called non-disparagement clause. This is how they control your speech. Derek cannot jump on here on YouTube and say, hey, y'all, I was let go from this company and they did this, and they make you sign that. So you got to keep your mouth closed. This came out in March of 2023 to say, hey, employers, y'all can't do this. Y'all taking away free speech. You can't make people be quiet about what just happened to them. But I'm telling you, these employers are a little bit sneaky. I've read thousands of severance agreements and people just sign because they want their money. And I don't blame them. But they also don't realize they can't even talk about it. The second reason is, I said there was two, right? Confidentiality. They don't want you talking about how much you made, how much they're going to give you. You know why? Because between me, Robin, Jacqueline, Fab, and Crystal, we all got paid something different. We got paid something different. I used to work at this company, and the VP of HR, Teresa, know who I'm talking about. She told me, oh, they took care of me. She was cool that she was being let go. And me and her was really close. She said, Kelly, they took care of me. By everybody else that was being laid off, it was pennies compared to that. She said she was good until basically. So 2 things that they put in that severance agreement. What did we say, y'all? Non-disparagement and confidentiality. Now, when an employee is terminated, they are occasionally offered a severance agreement. Again, y'all, it's not mandatory. There are multiple reasons for severance offer. It could be to soften the blow of a layoff after many years of service, or it could be to avoid a future lawsuit by having an employee sign a release. Now, back in the day, I don't know if y'all remember this, we used to do exit interviews with people. And there was a document, I don't know, Janelle, if you remember this. There was a document On top of their severance agreement, they would have to do an exit interview. And that was what they're talking about here is called a employee release. And some of those said you can't even go to the Department of Labor and get unemployment. But people don't read. They just sign. And that money go quick. You get 2 weeks for every year, right? It sounds like a lot of money. It sounds like a lump sum. I know somebody, Teresa, we used to work with the person. And I remember they called. It was like, I'm cool. I got severance. I think it was like 20K or whatever. In my mind, I mean, that don't last. That don't last a long time. And this person was, going on trips and doing it. And I'm like, ain't none of my business, right? That money go fast, y'all. So the National Labor Relations Board put employers on notice that they can no longer silence workers on specific severance terms, non-disparagement and confidentiality. Whatever the reason for the severance package, employers frequently include a non-disparagement clause. This is what it is. This was a way to control the speech of former employees. What is it called, y'all? Non-disparagement clause. Write it down. When you see that, know that they want you to be quiet. Non-disparagement clause. Employers nearly always include a confidentiality provision in a severance agreement as well. Employers may not offer severance to all employees, confidential, hint, 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 or may not offer equal amounts to all employees, hint, hint, hint. Having a confidentiality clause helps the employer keep that, what, y'all? A secret. So when you sign, just know if you see the confidentiality clause, if you see the non-disparagement clause, and listen, I don't want you to ever have to sign a severance agreement. That's not what I'm saying. This is to equip you to be informed, right? If you see that, this is something we talked about. You can get an employment attorney if you don't agree with that. Because you know that Derek got one pay, Linton got another pay, Fav got another pay, Janelle got another pay, Kelly got another type of pay. They gave Kelly 20 weeks. They gave Linton 3 weeks. They gave Teresa 15 weeks. What's up with that? Why? They ain't got to report to nobody. Remember, it said nobody's going to penalize them. There's no government agency to say, hey, why you do this to them? They was actually working in the same department together, the same business unit together. Something ain't right. Remember that person I told you about, they said, oh, they took care of me. They do what they want. Who's watching? Who's watching? Now, this new decision by the National Labor Relations Board, this is how this came about. It was concerning a Michigan hospital. It was called McLaren-Macomb. Anybody heard of that? Macomb? What they did was they furloughed several employees during the pandemic. And as part of their severance agreement, McLaren included these clauses. You see them, right? Confidentiality agreement. The employee acknowledges that the terms of this agreement are confidential and agrees not to disclose them to any third person other than they're telling you who you can talk to, your spouse, or as necessary to professional advisors for the purposes of obtaining legal counsel or tax advice, or unless legally compelled to do so by a court or administrative agency of competent jurisdiction. Now, be honest. Would y'all have read this? I think a few of you would. I think a few of you would have read it. Now, this Michigan hospital, McLaren-Macomb, they put another one in there, non-disclosure. I want y'all to know the terms. At all At all times hereafter, the employee promises and agrees not to disclose information, knowledge, or materials of a confidential, privileged, or proprietary nature of which the employee has or had knowledge of or involvement with by reason of the employee's employment. At all times. Is that for the rest of your life? At all times hereafter, the employee agrees not to make statements to employer's employees or to the general public, which could, there's that word again, disparage or harm the image of employer, its parent, and affiliated entities and their officers, directors, employees, agents, and representatives. This thing tight. They making sure we're going to give you your 60 days. You can't say a word. Understand? The National Labor Relations Board said, this ain't right, y'all. Y'all can't stop people from talking. That's not cool. You can't do that. The NLRB concluded that examining the language of the severance agreement here, we concluded that the non-disparagement and confidentiality provisions interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees' exercise of Section 7 rights. How they gonna tell you not to talk forever? Forever? Now, I'll drop the link for those that are watching the replay. You can check out this case. And for y'all in the that are live, I'm going to drop the link for y'all if y'all want to read the case, okay? Let me see what y'all talking about. What do we think about this, y'all? Are we going to read if this happens, if you know of someone? Y'all inform people. Uh-oh, what'd I do? What happened? Let me drop this for y'all. I don't know what happened. I want you to inform people. What happened to my camera? Am I gone? So how we feel about this, y'all? Are you going to let people know? Are you going to tell people about the two clauses? We don't know what about the other ones, right? We don't know about the other ones. Derek said, and I never saw the point of trying or mentioning the non-complete clause since their closing. What's the point? Y'all are having a conversation. Janelle said, you're in shock. That's very true. That's an excellent point, Janelle. You're not thinking about what they have in this document, or are they trying to get over on me? That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. But don't you think that's even like, a little shady though? They know you in shock. Like that girl we saw last week, and you just signed. Janelle said, they don't tell you until 4:30. Tell me at 8. Yeah, they're doing it now through, like you said, through Teams and through Zoom. I know there's a lot happening, and I want you to be aware. I want you to be mindful of what's happening. You see it all the time with other people. And again, I know there's some people even here on the call that were facing that. And so the more you know, the more you can be aware, because it's your livelihood, it's your quality of life, right? Some of these things we didn't know. We're not taught this. Okay, good, Janelle. That's good. Janelle said, I'm definitely sharing this information. That's the thing, y'all. We have to help each other. We have to share. That's why I said share. Share this information. Hey, Susie Q. Y'all hit the like button so this gets out to more people. We have to, this is how we learn information. This is how we know information. Right? Because if we're not aware, we're in the dark, we just move forward. Like Janelle said, we're in shock. We don't know to think about that. The least we can do is just be like, okay, let me just take this home. I don't have to do this right now. Let me just, because you're getting over the emotional trauma and everything that's happened. I'm going to take this home. I'm not signing this right now. I'm going to take it home. And I've seen people do that as well. And it's a thick document. I mean, it's super thick. And they take it home. Good, Linda. Teresa said, I'm definitely reading this doc. I'm certainly sharing too. Yeah, y'all make sure, share it with people that you know and you love and you trust. There's things happening. There's people I talked to that said I would not have ever thought that I would be facing a layoff. Again, this isn't fear mongering. This is just real, right? You state the facts and you tell the truth. You keep it real with people. And the more you can inform people, the more informed a person is, the better decisions that they can make. If we don't know, we don't know. I can tell you how many people say, I would have never thought that this would happen to me. Never. Derek said, make sure you completely read all of any documents that organization wants you to sign, especially if they said you don't have to read it, just sign it. Yeah, they try to do my daughter like that. They try to do my daughter like that, but she got a mama. She's like, Mom. I'm like, yeah, no. Yeah, no. You're not signing anything. Yeah, no. We'll read it. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Listen, I know there's a lot happening, and just let me go on this little tangent for a second. Aside from this, there's a lot happening, and I got an email. I think it was yesterday, and I send out emails. This is a side note, and we'll come back. And I don't know if the person is watching, but they asked me, how come you don't talk about this? And how come you don't talk about that? And how come you don't talk about this? And how come you don't talk about that? Well, first of all, I don't have to. That's one. The second reason is you can hear a lot of the different things that's happening from other people. There's people talking about a lot of different things. Doesn't mean I don't have an opinion or a point of view of it, but I just want to make it clear that I want to be nice. That just because nothing is said doesn't mean that a person is not aware. And sometimes you don't always have to say something. You don't always have to say something. And I don't feel as if I'm responsible to always have to. I don't feel responsible to always have to say something. So I just want to say that publicly and just put that out there. Because I did get an email or two about it. And I understand there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of things happening. I get it. I'm emotional about stuff too. I get it. But I just don't, that's not my vibe. I don't rock like that. I never have. Some of y'all been with me for almost 5 years. Y'all know I just don't rock like that. So there's that. Anywho, hey, Sean, what's up? You'll drive yourself crazy trying to cover it. There you go. Thank you, Sean. Sean always got my back. Thank you. Thank you. I just know that, the channel's growing and people have opinions and their emotions are high. I get it. I totally get it. But as for me, that's how I vibe out. So with this severance and the layoffs and things that are happening, like it's you're not going to not notice it. It's happening. And the more information I can share or you all can share with each other, y'all, we have to do that as a community, share with each other. Doesn't make sense to keep information. It just doesn't make sense. There's a ton of information out there. There's a lot of people sharing. And sometimes we can get bogged down with everything. What are we supposed to do? And how are we supposed to act? And what's supposed to happen? And it could be that we just need to turn the noise off. Let's control what we can control, y'all. We can't save everybody. We can't take care of everybody. And sometimes it's okay just to look out for yourself. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. But I also want us to be careful about what we're consuming. There's a lot happening. I mean, in the span of what, 14 days, y'all? So you got to take care of yourself mentally. I was talking to somebody earlier and I was saying that about, you know, how you talk to yourself and how we can self-sabotage. Oh, I did a email for you, those of you on the email list. I sent an email. That's what I was talking about. How you talk to yourself and how we can self-sabotage ourselves. Because we talk to ourselves a lot. I know y'all are like me, so I know y'all talk to yourself just like I do. Susan said, I never realized that you could take home a severance dues. Is that what that is? Clifford said, I saw there's been quite a few government jobs that are hiring lately. That's great information. Thank you, Clifford. If y'all in the community, Clifford post those as well. Yeah, because if you turn on the noise, I would say, the news isn't there to give you like good news. It's about what's bad and what's happening. But there's jobs for people that want to transition. There's opportunities for people that want to do other things. There are things that are happening. I do know, like I said, I'm not trying to make light of what's happening currently. I've seen it. I get it. You can't help but to see it. But somewhere, somebody's got to be talking about positive things. Somebody's got to be just helping. And so be careful of what you consume. I'll just say that. And as it relates to what our topic this evening in severance is, I want you all to be aware. Hopefully, I shared some things with you that you didn't know that's helpful, that's beneficial, that you can share, that you can do your own research, do your own due diligence, bookmark some of these sites so that you'll know and leverage them if you need them. That way you can keep an eye on these things as well. Was that helpful? If it was helpful, y'all hit that like button for me. I would appreciate that. I think what Sean said is so key, that just looking at everything, you'll go crazy. And let me tell you something, the enemy will, regardless of what you believe, the biggest thing for us right now that is plaguing us, I believe, is distraction. It's distraction. A lot of us have things that we should be focusing on. I'm included. And we're not. But we can't be so easily distracted that we lose focus on what's important, because some of these things we talked about tonight, like the severance and things, will hit us in the face. And some of you hear rumblings and you hear talk and you see memos and emails coming out about so and so has left and we're reorganizing and restructuring, and you're going about your day and you're still online and you're not noticing that, this is happening a lot. There's a lot happening right now. Let me just put my head up and not down, looking, doing my job, going home, coming back, doing my job. There's stuff happening. I mentioned earlier at the top of this, and I shared with you that the businesses are watching the economic climate and the political climate. This is how they know how to move. If we get a chance, I mentioned this at the top of the hour as well. And if not, I want y'all to Google the zombie economy. Zombie economy. I want you to Google it. I want you to look into it. I do my best so that nothing slaps you in the face and just hits you. But just like, again, what Sean said, there's so much happening. So I try to pull out those things that I know would be of value and beneficial to you. And we can all contribute and we can have dialogue around it. And even though you can't be always prepared, but we can control what we can control. That's it. We can't control anybody. We can't control employers. That's it. We can only control what we can control. Let's just do that. And by controlling, I mean we can be prepared. That's going to trump skills, experience, knowledge, talent any day. Being prepared. That trumps all of it. Education, knowledge, experience, talent, abilities, capacity, being prepared. When you're prepared, you're more confident. When you're prepared, you're more concise. Be prepared, as prepared as you can be. And don't move with emotion. Some of us are too emotionally attached to an outcome versus just allowing the outcome. Sometimes it's a lesson in disguise. We should not be reacting and acting upon emotion. I know it's hard. I know it's tough, but it doesn't serve us. That's not going to get us on the path and give us direction and guidance that we need to go in. Sometimes we need to take a step back or sit down or pause. Because when we're tired, when we're distraught, when we're overwhelmed, when we're confused, when we don't have clarity, we move with emotion. You go off on the people at work or your spouse or your kids or your friends or somebody online when you don't have to say a word. You ain't got to say nothing. People gonna people. The job gonna job. Control what you can, and that's you. That's it. Some things are meant to happen so that you can elevate. Some doors are meant to be closed. Otherwise, you sit there and you be comfortable. That happened for me. I would still be at Georgia Cable Television, which I started in 1995 because I loved it so much. But they were bought out and I had to leave. But it was so I can elevate. Some of you are upset when you don't get the promotion, when you don't get the call about the job. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. Could be God telling you, I want you to elevate. I don't want you here. You need to be doing this, but you're tripping. You're scared. You're fearful. I need you to do this scared because I need you. Some of y'all sitting there and you feel it and you hear it on the inside. And if you got the vision and you know you're supposed to be doing something, you know you're supposed to be moving, you know you're supposed to be pivoting, you know you're supposed to be transitioning, you know you're supposed to start that business, you know you're supposed to be relocating, you know it. But that's that emotional attachment that you have. Unattach. Do the thing. Do the thing, whatever it is. Don't sit there. It's not serving you. It's not benefiting you. I made so many mistakes. I'm still making mistakes, to be honest with you. So many. But if I hadn't made the mistakes, I wouldn't know what was wrong to do. Because the only way you're going to know what's wrong and what's right is to do the thing. You can get out there and make a mistake and be like, oh, I messed that up. I'll never do that again. You wouldn't even know that if you don't do it. That is actually life. And that's something I learned. I need you to be the best version. And I know that sounds cliche, but I need you to be the best version of yourself. We need you right now. We need you. Suppress the fear. Talk to it. Say, listen, you're not going to hold me back from this. I'm scared as all get out, but I got to do this. I got to see what's beyond this. I had to do it scared. I had to leave at 2 a.m. in the morning with my daughter on the passenger side seat with $85 for a 12-hour drive, not ever driving from here, from Illinois to Georgia, ever. I did it scared. By myself. I did it scared. I will know what's on the other side of my fear. I'm not going to live this life and not know what's out there for me. I'm not doing it. I don't want you to do it either. We all got your back. That's all I got. I love y'all very much. Hopefully this was good. Hopefully it was helpful. I missed y'all last week too. Susan said home and not sign in. Derek said that's so true. You can voice your opinion, but it can be used against you professionally, depending on the observer's viewpoint. Many people have lost business due to their public issue stand. Linton said spot on. Susan said yes, so true. So many companies laying off. Sean said, when I'm out and about in the real world, I'm reminded that most people are good and just trying to live life. That's right. The online world will have you thinking the worst. They will. They will. You're welcome. You're welcome. Y'all hit that like button for me. It helps me a lot. Hopefully this was helpful for you all. Yeah, that's all I got, y'all. That's it. That's all I got. How's the weather where everybody else is? Because it is crazy town right now. I'm getting all kind of alarms. Y'all hear the alarms? Hey, Jacqueline. You're welcome, Linda. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Susie Q. I miss you, miss you, miss you. Susan been with me for like ever. Hot. It's hot. Yeah, it's hot. Hot here too. Hot here too. All right, y'all, take care of yourselves. Remember, think about how you're talking to yourself. That's the loudest and biggest voice we have. Loudest and biggest voice we have, right? All right, love you lots. See you next week. Bye, 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 bye.